Hi, it's Musashden. I'm doing a quick coloring process on my comic here on page 4 of my comic RED, which I've recently started up again. It's about a vampire searching for his wife, and in this page he's having a bit of a problem, and it's pretty evident that he's losing this fight. But anyway, before I started, I noticed that Samael's head was a little big. So I selected his head with the lasso tool, making sure to get only his head and his hair. Ignore that weird dip down I did. At first I was going to make his body bigger, but it's just easier to make his head smaller. Okay, so once he's selected, it's Command and T to transform, and then I hold down Shift as I'm pulling the corners to make his head smaller and to rotate it a little bit, make sure he's still hunched over. And okay, once I'm satisfied with that, I deselect and then I go out and I go in the history and go back and forth to what it used to look like to what it is now, just to make sure I'm good with it. Okay, moving on. I got my colors already because, like I said before, this is page 4. So Samael and Cameron already have a palette, and I'll pick Sue's colors later. So since Sam is the first person in the panel, he gets to go first. It's just a silly thing I do. Whoever is in the first panel closest to the left get their colors first. But I start with his skin, so I use the magic wand tool to select all of his skin. Then I go to select, modify, and expand, and do it at about 2 points or 2 pixels. And that makes sure the selection goes all the way to the line, so there's no weird white space between the color and the line. It's to make sure it fills in. And sometimes it goes over, but that's no problem. Okay. Right about here, I change, well, I'm trying to color him in, but he's just so white. So I change my paper layer to a darker gray because Sam's skin is just so white. I can't see where the selection missed spots on near his ear and stuff. So afterwards, I go about and fill in where the section didn't get it, and that's only because my lines connected and closed off the area, or it was too small to select, or it just didn't quite get into that space. So just using a regular brush, I finish his skin off, and then after his skin, I do his hair. What I like to do while coloring is get the bigger stuff first, like hair, skin, clothes, and just like the bigger areas first, and then go back and get the smaller spaces like eyes, lips, the inside of their mouths. It's just like an easier process. Plus you could set the brush to behind and not have to worry about, the bigger area that you've already pushed in, that you've already filled in. Oh, also a little bit about how I use the brush settings. Throughout, I switch the mode of my brush from normal to behind. And what behind does is that it basically goes under what's already there, which is what allows me to color in those parts of his shirt without getting on the sweater color, or keep his sweater color from getting on his hands because his hand color was already there. And it's just easier. I've seen people put each color on a different layer, and that's fine for one scene drawings, but for a comic it would be a lot since there are so many characters on one page. And here's where I color in his collar and just use the behind tool. And you'll see me sometimes clean up the outer edge. If I go over the lines, you'll see me clean that up, and other times you'll just see me leave it. I'll explain how to clean it up as a whole later on in the video. All of these things should be on separate layers. The paper layer that CSP creates automatically for new documents, it does that automatically in CSP. But if you're working in Photoshop or any of its equivalents like GIMP or Psy or any program that you can make lots of layers on, just do it. It makes life so much easier. So I just started the coloring process, and I already have 8 layers, 2 of which are just rough layers, which are just my sketches for the page, like a body sketch and then a clothing sketch. And I'm going to cover layers and sketching and the importance of that in another video. Anyway, the lines go on another layer, the frames go on another, the color goes on another layer. I put nearly everything on a different layer just in case I mess up. Like, never color your lines layer. Never do anything like that. Like, just create another layer. It's just easier. My last panel is also on a different layer, and so its color will be on a different layer from the main color as well, because it extends past the frames, and it's just going to be an easier process once all that is done. So like I said before, Red is actually an old comic, and the characters did have color palettes back then. And I wanted to keep Sue's color palette pretty much the same as her first appearance in the old comic, but oh my god, the art is so... look at it. It's awful. And those colors were just disgusting. So I go in and load my wide range of colors, and then I do my huge color palette with the one that I made from the internet. And that gives me a nice range of colors to pick from rather than the basic set of 6 that Photoshop comes with, and they're various shades. But I wanted to keep in with her same theme of pink and white and like blue jeans, even though she's wearing shorts with leggings now. But I picked a pink that was just like slightly like toned down. Like that other image didn't even look like it was nighttime out. So I take a little so I take a little time to go through and just pick a pink. There we go, that one looked nice. And we select and go about and modify and fill it in, and oh, that looks so much nicer than the old one, right? Great. Oh god, stop going to it. My art back then, that was my art 10 years ago, so you can see why this comic book needs a bit of an update. As for cleaning up what I went outside the lines before when I was coloring Sue's hair and like his shirt and stuff, when it gets outside the lines, what I do is I use that good old magic wand tool again and select outside the lines, and I just select all the areas outside the lines, and everything should be closed off. It'll show you if everything's not closed off, but everything should be, because I made my lines nice and like that's how I colored it in, by selecting inside the lines and filling it in. But you just go outside the lines, select everything, expand it just a little bit so it's not like so it doesn't go inside the lines. But you select everything and then just expand it a little bit and delete, and all of a sudden you have nice stuff that's colored inside the lines correctly. Isn't that great? So that's basically it about how I do just base colors. Shading this thing is just gonna be a whole different thing, right? So I already do have a shading video, but it's actually a dated version of how I shade down. Now I use a clipping mask, but I might actually record that part too, just so you guys can see it. But this is the base colors. I did a little work on the background while I was at it, overachieving a little bit, but this is basically it. If you like the way that I draw and just gotta see more of it, I am Musashden on Deviantart and on Instagram, and you can subscribe to my channel here. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching.